G'day guys, how we doing? Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Saturday, February the 15th, 2025. And if you did celebrate Valentine's yesterday, I hope you had a great day with the lovely and you spoiled her or him, whoever it might be. And yeah, you had a good day or night, whatever it might have been. Big day of boxing here. It's great to see that the Chuck and Davis fight is actually being shown here in Australia on Fox Sports. So I think it starts at 9 a.m, which is a really strange time to start, but I don't care because I'll be getting back from this. I'll be having a nice quick hot shower, whatever it might be, cup of coffee, and I'll be sitting down watching the fights today. So it should be good because this is probably the one thing I'm sort of glad that with the ESPN Top Rank thing ending, that at least we'll get all the fights, because Fox Sports here in Australia just tend to pick and choose which ones they put on of those Top Rank cards. And if there's a college basketball game or lawn bowls or something on, they will always bump the boxing. So I'm glad that that arrangement is actually coming to an end. And hopefully Bob and the team at Top Rank will go to the Zone and we'll get all their cards and not have to worry about, is it going to be on? I mean, we've got five Fox Sports channels and 2 ESPN channels here, and they can't find room to put the boxing on every single time it's on. Just bizarre. Shows you, I suppose, how down the list boxing is. But so anyway, it's on today and it will be good. As for the fight itself, I think I've said in the last couple of days, I think Canelo Davis will win the fight. I think it'll be his coming out fight. Of course, don't underestimate Chuck, the Ukrainians. I mean, geez, they're always so well schooled. They're tough. 36 years of age, though. Not that that is a massive barrier, because we've seen Lomachenko and Usyk win fights at that age as well. But I've just got a feeling that Canelo Davis is all wrong for Chuck. I think his speed, his youth, got some power as well. Canelo Davis. I just think it's not going to be a good fit for his style. I mean, Navarrete was good because Navarrete just keeps coming forward and is always there to be hit. Davis, on the other hand, he can be hit, but very, very skillful fighter. Very, very well trained too, I will say. Bomac is an excellent trainer, despite all his physical looks and attributes. He can train, and obviously done a great job with Terence Crawford. Excuse me, there, I've got something in my eye. So yeah, as I said, I think Canelo Davis will win that fight and hopefully set up some really good lightweight fights down the track. Now, it is Saturday, which means it is Clapback Thursday review. Now, of course, I can't do it on Friday because it comes out sort of Friday afternoon, of course, and we're a day ahead of America, if in case you don't know. I would hope you would know that. But so it's always good to do it on the Saturday. But Oscar, as expected, has absolutely ripped into, guess who? Canelo Alvarez. Saul Canelo Alvarez. And look, he spent pretty much the whole episode, if that's what you want to call him, on Canelo, although he did rip into Edgar Berlanga at the end there as well, and quite rightly so. I mean, firstly on Berlanga, is it right that he actually went on a victory tour after losing to Canelo? Surely that's not right, because that's what he did talk about in the video. He went on a victory tour, barely won a round against Canelo, but liked to celebrate it and went out and celebrated. And and now is aiming for a rematch. We might see the victory tour number 2. Not victory tour, of course, the runner-up tour. But that's bizarre if it did happen. But he is fighting on an undercard in Miami, I think it is, which is very strange for a fighter who's just fought for the world undisputed title, or 3 belts, whatever it was, against Canelo. Did he have all 4 belts in? Whatever it was. But for the title, the super middleweight title. The only reason you would probably see him maybe on an undercard is if it was on a Saudi card or something like that. So very strange proceedings there. But on to Canelo, and look, of course, he rolled out the Jake Paul footage of him with the contract, saying he'd signed the contract. There has been reports that contract as such, quote unquote, was a heads of agreement, not necessarily the contract. So I don't know, it's got Canelo Alvarez's signature on it, which goes to show that he had full intentions of actually fighting Jake Paul. And I'm not quite sure why Oscar would criticise him for signing a 4-fight deal with Turki Al Sheikh rather than fighting Jake Paul. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya, I would think that he would be so anti-YouTuber boxing, it would be ridiculous. And this is a guy from that era who just fought everybody. And no matter what opinion you've got of Oscar De La Hoya, you've got to give him his props that he fought absolutely everybody and never shirked the issue. So he's a guy that I would never have imagined would ever entertain fighting Jake Paul. So I'm not quite sure why he's giving Canelo some grief about not following through with the fight, with the signed contract. But as far as the 4-fight deal goes, I mean, Oscar did say that he's let the Mexican fans down by fighting in Saudi Arabia and not in the States. Oh, I don't know, I don't buy that. I just don't buy it. I mean, surely Canelo's been a pro for 20 years. Surely he has earned the right to now look after himself. He's given the Mexican fans some great fights on all the big dates every single year, or as long as I can remember. What's it been? It's probably been at least 10 years, 12 years, whatever it might be, maybe even longer, where he's fought on Cinco de Mayo and then the Mexican Independence Day weekend in either LA or Vegas. So I think he's given the Mexican fans every single thing they wanted, and I don't think they would begrudge him now going to Saudi Arabia and earning some good dollars. He's still, look, technically he's still going to be fighting on Cinco de Mayo weekend. It just, they'll have to watch him on TV, that's all. So I don't see the big drama in it. I know a lot of the fans would like to have gone to Vegas and watched the fight and you know, taken in all the Cinco de Mayo stuff. But yeah, I don't know, all that aside, just the fact that Canelo has certainly earned the right to now look after his little retirement tour, I think. What's he got, 4 fights? Maybe that might be it, who knows? But I mean, he's 34 years of age now. So yeah, I don't necessarily agree with Oscar. And normally you know, they're so well done, his videos now. He's obviously got a good producer that looks after him and with all the effects and everything else. But yeah, hang on. I just don't necessarily agree with him on that point. And look, Oscar did, probably for the first time that I think, has actually said he did get a bit butthurt when Canelo left him in 2015. Has it been that long? Surely it hasn't been that long. But left him in 2015, and now he's done the same thing to Eddie Hearn and Al Heyman and gone chasing the money with Turki Al Sheikh. And it was interesting that De La Hoya actually, or Oscar, put up a quick clip of Canelo Alvarez saying that Al Heyman was the best promoter in boxing. This is not that long ago. So I think he used that as an example of the disloyalty of Canelo. But surely Oscar, more than anyone's got to realise that the business we're in. And I actually applaud Canelo, and he's lucky to be in that position, by the way, where he has kept his options open. It's like, no, I'll sign with you for 2 fights and you for 3 fights, and I'll go back to them for 2 fights. He just chases the best opportunity for him. Isn't that what he's supposed to do? And I understand the David Benavidez thing, and Oscar is right with that. Back in his day, Oscar De La Hoya would have 100% fought David Benavidez. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm sure every single great fighter in history has probably had one fighter they just never fought for one reason or another. It just happens. Yeah, I don't know. It's open for debate. And I suppose if you're in disagreement with me on this and you agree with Oscar, just all I ask is just take out probably the personal dislike of Canelo, because he seems to rub a few people up the wrong way. Just look at it for what he is. I mean, this is a guy that's just fought everybody. And I seem to be defending Canelo a lot lately, but I've just got to probably say in this instance, I don't necessarily agree with Oscar. And I don't think he's let the Mexican people down. I don't think he's done the wrong thing by signing the 4-fight deal. But I probably do agree that he is chasing the money. But again, good on him. If you're in a position to do it, wouldn't you, the amount of work that goes into the fights and the sacrifice that these guys make, surely when you've been a pro for 20 years, you wouldn't begrudge someone for saying, yes, 100%, I am chasing the money and I'm going to get twice as much fighting on these cards that I would fighting back home. I think if you saw it that way, you would agree that he's probably done the right thing. Although what I will say, in probably agreement with Oscar is that maybe Canelo has, come on buddy, created the error of maybe avoiding certain fighters where it seemed to be okay. Now, that's, again, a matter of debate. I just think for the Benavidez fight, it was just a business decision. Call it a duck, whatever you might want. But I don't think it's really affected a whole generation of fighters, do you? I think they're all their own man. If anything, if they wanted to follow his example, they'd be fighting regularly like he does, at least twice a year. A lot of these other fighters don't. And that was actually, I did see a little bit of D-Style's video this morning too, by the way, and if you don't follow D-Style, make sure you do. He said about, what was he saying about, if you gave Marvin Hagler, this is about the Crawford fight, by the way, if you said that Marvin Hagler's win over Roberto Duran was one of the best of his career and how great it was, and it added to Marvin Hagler's legacy, well, why wouldn't Canelo Alvarez get the same pats on the back by fighting Crawford? Because all he's got so far is negative reaction. So seems to be different standards for different fighters. That was, I think, was the topic of D-Style's video. I only watched a few minutes of it. I didn't get a chance to watch it all. It was on about 5 o'clock this morning, but made some good points. And he did say that at least, that was what I was getting at as far as frequency goes. He said even though Canelo is getting ridiculed for the Williams Skull fight, at least he's fighting. Terence Crawford isn't fighting anyone at this stage, and instead he'll sit out until September. So I agree with D-Style on that, where he's saying, hey, we'll keep the same principles there for all fighters, not just Canelo. I mean, he fights regularly, most of the time fights the guys we want to see him fight. So I just think maybe it's time to lay off a little bit on Canelo. And as I said before, I disagree somewhat with Oscar on some of his points. All right, well, there hasn't been a hell of a lot of other stuff going on in the last 24 hours. So what I thought I would do, I was having a look at some of the Aussie boxers actually, and just looking at some of who is probably the biggest fight on the horizon for some of our Aussie fighters. And look, they all vary in certain ways, and I'll go through them. Let's start with the main man, Jai Patai. Well, that's probably easy. The end game for Jai at the moment, the biggest fight on his horizon, is obviously the Zurdo Ramirez fight. Ramirez has got his mandatory coming up, so Jai will probably fight someone else, but you would think in the second half of 2025, that is the fight the Turkey El Sheikh will want to make. So that's probably an easy one for Jai. Going down the list, if you look at, say, George Kambosos, I know he's got a fight coming up with Jordan. That's certainly not the biggest fight on his horizon. I would think, I mean, it's probably a toss-up. You might say Liam Paro. I'm going to go with Richardson Hitchens. I think that is the end game. And I think what they'll want to do in the meantime is build Liam Paro back up and then potentially have George and Liam fight if George can win that world title from Hitchens, which won't be an easy task, I can guarantee that. So that's probably the biggest fight for George. And the fact that they're almost laying the groundwork for that now. They've already started on social media. They've been very outspoken against each other. I think Hitchens actually was taunting George pretty much straight after he won that belt. So you would think that is the end game fight for George Kambosos. Richardson Hitchens in the second half of 2025. And then, as I said, if Liam can get a couple of wins under his belt this year, then he would probably be the next big fight for George in early 2026. For Tim Tszyu, well, that's a real easy one. It's just Joey Spencer. That's it. That is the biggest fight on the horizon for Tim. At this stage of his career, he cannot be thinking of anyone apart from Joey Spencer, because this has such ramifications to it of beating Joey Spencer that should be his sole focus. Because if he can't beat Joey Spencer, and I think he will quite comfortably, but if he can't beat Joey Spencer, well, that could be curtains as far as his career goes, which is unfathomable. Is that the word? Unfathomable from a year ago. But that is the biggest fight on his horizon, the only fight he should be focusing on at the moment. Don't think of anything else past that. It is that one fight, and Joey Spencer, just get the win, and one fight at a time, I would think, for the next 12 to 18 months. And then maybe you can broaden the horizons and look past that. But we saw what happened when he looked past Murtazaliev, didn't we? But that's for me, that is it. One fight, one fighter, Joey Spencer. That is it. For I just mentioned about Liam Paro. I would think for him at the moment, the end game might be George, but I think in the meantime, it is just purely and solely about getting a couple of wins under his belt, whether that's in Australia or he goes overseas and fights on a couple of undercards or something over there. Maybe get on a matchroom card here and then maybe go to the States for one of those fights as well. But I'm thinking at least 2 fights for Liam to get back in the mix. For the Maloney boys. Now, this is interesting because they've got some really good possibilities out there. Jason, of course, is fighting next weekend. Now, he did lose his WBO title to Take, so he's got a few different options. He could fight, who was it at Ban? I don't think it'll be Nakatani, not for the time being. I think Nakatani's got some other things to take care of first. But I was looking at, where is he? Got the rankings here. I think it'd be Ryosuke Nishida, Ryosuke Nishida, the IBF champion. Now, Jason is ranked number 5. However, number 1 and 2 are vacant. So technically he's ranked number 3. Not ranked by the WBA. He's number 5 with the WBC. And the WBO is Takai. So whether he gets another shot at him, he is ranked number 6 by him, by the way. So that would probably be the logical one, trying to get revenge in the rematch. But I've got a feeling Takai is looking at other options. So I think Nishida would be the fight for the IBF belt, would be the biggest fight on the horizon for Jason. If he could win another version of the belt, then opens up so many doors as far as the rematch with Takai, the fight with Nakatani, some really good fights over there for him. So some big stakes. He needs to get past his attention, Knuckle Sar or something is next week. So best of luck for Jason. As for Andrew, well, as far as world title opportunities goes at the moment, not great, because we have, which is a really good thing. Looks like Bam Rodriguez will fight Fernando, what's his name? Is it Ramirez? Hang on, quick look there. Where is it? Fernando Martinez, Fernando Martinez, the WBA champion. That's going to happen. And then you have, who was the, Cafu is going to fight Chocolatito for the WBO belt. And then we've got the rematch between Garcia and Bibiano for the IBF belt. So all 4 belts are in play at 115. So Andrew's going to have to wait a while, but I would think the winner of the IBF fight between Garcia and Bibiano, there's so many different names these days, that would be his course of action down the track. Sam Goodman. Now, this is an interesting one because obviously the end game would be Naoya Inoue, but I don't think that's the end game at this stage. I don't really know, because Inoue has moved on very, very quickly, and his next 3 or 4 fights have been pretty much laid out, and Sam Goodman's not one of them. So I would think the only way Sam is going to get back, and don't forget too, by the way, Sam's ranked number 1 still by 2 organisations, and I think he's in the top 5 of the other 2. So he's still got plenty of options as far as potential fights for the belts if they become vacant. But I would think for Sam in the meantime, it might be going down the path of a Marlon Tapales type of fighter who's ex-champion. He has got the win over MJ, what's his name, at 115. We'll just call him MJ. I always have trouble pronouncing his name. Murajon Akhmadalev, I think it is. But I would think Marlon Tapales would be the ideal opponent for Sam Goodman to really get back in the mix and being rated very, very highly by all organisations, and either forcing the fight within a way, or if he does vacate the belts, he's going to have pretty much 4 belts to choose from as far as which one he goes for. Liam Wilson, I would think, I don't think it's going to be Navarrete. I think he's been there and done that. I don't think Navarrete is really interested in that type of fight at this stage of his career. He'd be looking at sort of bigger fights. The fight I looked at for Liam would be, the IBF belt is vacant. Now, he is ranked number 8. That would be maybe his play. Now, I did see, I've just got the ratings here, by the way. Now, he is ranked still, the thing is, he is ranked number 4 with the WBO, with Navarrete as a champion. They're the only ones he's rated at. So pretty much the IBF belt could be a way to go at 130. Eduardo Nunes is number 1. Mansouri Rikishi is ranked number 3. Number 2 is not rated. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. But he is ranked number 8. So maybe that is his best course of action. Some of the other fighters out there, maybe Michael Zarafa is probably qualifies for that. It's obviously just Tim Tszyu, isn't it? That's probably the only fight I could probably see for Michael at this stage. There might be some other fringe world sort of level fights that might come up for him, but you would think that the fact that No Limit have signed him up, that they're looking at the Tim Tszyu fight, maybe Nikita Tszyu fight, and that's pretty much it. And the investment they're putting into Michael at the moment with this German that he's fighting next, and who knows after that, maybe it's Brock, who knows. But you would think the end game for their investment will be the payoff, will be either Tim or Nikita. And then I don't really see a lot for him after that. I think I said yesterday, he's still ranked number 8 by the WBA, but Erizlandi Lara is a champion, so there's no way that fight's going to happen again. You wouldn't think you'd see a rematch of that, and he's not ranked by the other organisation. So, yeah, I think at this stage for Michael, it's all eggs in the basket for that potential Tim Tszyu fight. He just has to keep winning and hope that Tim Tszyu comes around and wants to fight him, and the outcry for the fight is loud enough that Tim listens and the timing's right for him and he takes that fight. But yeah, it still remains to be seen, because Tim has made no secret that he's not interested in the fight. I think is that sort of about, I mean, Justice Honey, they're talking about fight with Otama. That could be a good potential fight, but I think, well, that's probably the biggest fight on the horizon of him at this stage. His horizon's way down the track because he's such a young man, so he's got plenty of time, but I would think the Otama fight would be the end game for him at this stage. So, and another one I would love to see, by the way, it's not really significant as far as world level goes, but Isaac Hardman to come back and fight Mikhailovich, that would be awesome. They've already started online, so you would think that at some stage, I'll hope that fight gets made. I think that's probably one of the most entertaining fights we'll see in Australia this year. I think it'll be fantastic, so let's hope we get that. But guys, that's probably about it today. I know it's not the most exciting episode. Let's hope we've got a bit more to talk about in the next couple of days with a lot of these fights happening, especially next week with the big Riyadh card. So guys, have a great Saturday and we'll speak to you tomorrow.